Welcome back to the UKRunChat Podcast. I'm Michelle, your host, and today's episode we have something a little bit different for you. My guest today is P Burton-Morgan, who is an award-winning writer, director, poet, and founder of Meta Theatre, who's about to head out on a UK tour with their brand new solo show, Running Commentary. Now, this isn't your typical running story. After a decade away from exercise, P found themselves rediscovering running in their 40s post-parenthood. But we're talking running clubs, competition, connection, and some unexpectedly fast race times too. So excited to hear about that. But P will also be telling us about their upcoming tour, Running Commentary, which blends stand-up, poetry, and real-life running experiences. So I can't wait to hear the story behind that. Thanks so much for joining us today, P, on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Michelle.
Really excited to hear all about, especially the poetry and where that's kind of come from. Have you always been a performer?
No. Well, interestingly, so I've spent 20 years as a writer and director in theatre, not really performing at all. And then the theatre industry slightly collapsed in the pandemic. And so I went from kind of making really large shows to going, how can I still produce work with sort of no budget? So I kind of returned to performing after really like 17 years of having not done it. But then I discovered all these poems I wrote when I was a child. So actually the poetry, this is very similar to my running journey. The poetry has been with me. It was just kind of, it was just hibernating for like several decades.
Yeah, so what's prompted kind of this outburst of poetry? Enough to fill a whole show, might I add? You know, there's
enough
obviously a lot in there.
Fill a whole show, yeah, absolutely. Well, so so last year I made my return to performing and did a poetry show about my sort of dating. Kind of, I'd separated from my husband of a long time, and so I was exploring that. And then I got into running, and I thought, why don't I combine my newfound love of running with my newfound love of poetry and put them together? And it's proved very fruitful. And I've written, so in the show I do about sort of 20 poems, but I've actually now written over 150 poems about running, which is a lot.
Wow. I mean, I must confess, I have had a go at writing some running poetry, but I'm not willing to share any of mine because I'm not sure mine's that great, but I'm excited to hear some of yours. And you'll hopefully be sharing some of your running poems with us during this episode. So do stay tuned for that.
Definitely. But Michelle, I think if I'm going to share some, you should share some too. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, I don't have them written down in front of me, so
Great excuse. Great excuse.
So let's just start back at the beginning of your running journey then, P. So what kind of brought you to running? So you had like a 10-year break from exercise.
I mean, to be honest, it was more than 10 years. Basically, okay. I left school, you know, as you do, and you do, you know, so I did do a bit of running in school. Like it wasn't a fancy, we didn't even have a running track. We just like ran around the field. But I was, you know, I would run 1500 and 800. And then I literally did no exercise for my entire adult life. I mean, maybe the odd yoga class, but nothing cardio. And then age 41, literally a year and a half ago, because the theatre career was collapsing and I was a bit depressed about that. My marriage, I was separating from my husband and I was mega depressed about that. And I heard running's good for your mental health and well-being. So I literally grabbed an old pair of trainers that were 20 years old and I threw them away afterwards, but I just put them on and I just ran out of the front door and just ran off. I live in rural Somerset and I just ran off into the fields. Didn't know what I was doing, but just thought this is probably good for me. And that was how it started.
So what was that first run like then?
It was awful because obviously I had no fitness and I didn't know anything about anything. So I sort of ran fast for about 10 minutes and then I was like, well, I can't keep this up. So then I walked for a bit and then I ran for a bit. So without realizing it, I had invented the run walk strategy. And then I just ran every day for 2 weeks and then afterwards couldn't walk. And people were like, maybe have like rest days and maybe like stretch. And I didn't know about any of this stuff at that point. So then I started doing yoga, and I do yoga every day now, 7 days a week. And I'm really assiduous about mobility work and strength and conditioning and all the good things we're meant to do outside of our running. I'm all over that.
Yeah. So you say you ran every day then for a few weeks. Clearly, was your fitness kind of okay? Were you kind of run walking at this point?
I think, well, it's interesting actually how quick it came back, because that first day I ran walk. And I think within like 3 or 4 days, I wasn't running very far. And it was just sort of around, I mean, I've since sort of measured it. It's about a 5K loop sort of through the woods and the fields. But by the end of, I think, a few days, I was running. Yeah, I was just running it. And then obviously over time, sort of beginning to get faster. But again, I didn't have a Garmin or on Strava or any of that stuff. So I didn't realize, I had no idea, like, am I fast? Am I slow? I was literally just doing it to kind of clear my head and sort of try to outrun my mental breakdown.
Yeah. But clearly that had a positive impact on you then.
Huge positive impact. I mean, I think I'm such a massive believer in running. I mean, A, running is for everyone, but B, running is just so good for like your soul and your spirit and your heart.
Yeah, and rural Somerset must be beautiful. I've only visited Somerset once or twice, and it's what are the trails like down there?
It's really beautiful, and there's lots of great trails, and it's also really hilly. And so again, I live at the bottom of the village I live in is at the bottom of the valley. So whenever I run from my front door, I'm always running uphill as the first thing I do. So when I kind of eventually I don't want to get ahead, but joined a run club, started doing races, really love trail races. Everyone was like, oh, you're really good on the hills. I'm like, yes, it's because in order for me to run, all I have to do, I have to do hills all the time.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, right, with the hills. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you find they ever get easier though? Because when I moved to Bolton, I'm based in Bolton now, and I'd moved from very flat Lincolnshire, and running just felt awful for ages. And I still feel like hills are hard, even though I've now got them every run.
Well, I think I'm lucky because I had it the other way around. And you're right, Lincolnshire is so flat. I mean, maybe if I stop doing hills, I'll lose my special hill skills. But that should be a poem. But touch wood, so far, hills are still my friend. But I have my secret trick for hills is when I see a hill, I go faster on the uphill. Just in a kind of like, the quicker we get up it, the sooner it'll be done. And that's particularly good in a race, obviously, because everyone else is like, oh no, I'm being hurt. And I'm like, oh, I'm overtaking everyone on the uphill. But yeah, I don't know. That might not work for everyone.
So you started running post-pandemic. So at what point did you realise that you're enjoying running and started to enter races?
Well, so I mean, I literally ran by myself for an entire year. And so after going every day, and that was not very sustainable, I settled down into running 3 times a week, and at the time didn't know distance, but it was either kind of between 5K or sometimes sort of 10K. And then a friend of mine knew I was getting into running, and she said, do you want to join me for parkrun? And I was like, what is parkrun? And she said, it's this amazing thing. It's a free 5K. You run around a park with a load of other people. It's really good fun, really inclusive. So I was like, sure. And by that point, I knew I was going to make this poetry show about running. So I thought it'll give me content for the show. So I joined her for the parkrun, and I just assumed she and everyone else would be way faster than me. And she was like, she looked at me and she was like, Pops, if you actually turn out to be really fast, obviously don't go at my pace, go at whatever pace you want. So I did that first parkrun, and I realised I was reasonably fast. But also I saw all these people in red vests, and I said to my friend, who are they? And she said, that's Froome Running Club. And I thought, well, I was keeping pace with a few of them. And at that point I thought, oh, you have to be like a certain standard to be in a running club, which obviously is not true. Running clubs are for everyone. But I thought, oh, well, if I'm fast enough to keep up with them, then I could join the club and it will give me more content for the show. So I joined the running club, and then and I went to my first session, and they were like, oh, you're quite fast. Did you not know? And I was like, no, I didn't know. So then of course they were like, will you enter these races? And I was like, sure, for content for the show.
Love it. So all this running journey has been kind of just aimed at this show.
Yeah, but of course, ironically, actually, it's become my entire life, as running can do. And I've made so many friends from Run Club, and it's it's become my entire identity. So in a good way, in a really positive way. So that's why I've ended up with 150 poems, way more poems than you could fit in a show. Because I just find the culture, the community, the physical act of it, there's so much to say about it.
Yeah, there is. And as runners, we do like to talk about running a lot as well.
Yes, we do. We're also obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, there's a funny saying that is, how do you know someone's a runner? Don't worry, they'll tell you.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like a nice moment to ask you to share one of your poems. Have you got one that you would share with the community for us?
Yes, of course. I'm trying to think about like which would be the best one to do. Maybe I tell you what, I'll do my very first race, which was a 5K. Maybe I'll say my time at the end of the poem. So it's kind of prose poem. My first race. The 45-minute woman sets off. We start in reverse to finish approximately together. She finishes her first lap while the rest of us still cluster at the start line, and we roar, stamp, clap, and cheer for this solitary silver citizen determined in her stride. 30 degrees, so I let go of any ambition to beat my parkrun time. I'm also suspicious of my latent competitive streak, and I haven't worked out how my Garmin works. The dead seagull in the road eyes me with disdain. The 45-minute woman runs like an apostrophe, bobbing between the vertical letters of the younger runners. Well done, I say as I pass. Thank you, she replies. I'm surprised to discover how inclusive running is. Everyone wants everyone to do their best, to be their best. Post-race, I'm vaguely nauseous, having stuffed myself with free sweets, though that might also be the caffeine. Everyone else from club, some seconds, even minutes off their times, is somewhat dejected. Expectation is a dangerous thing. I want snuggles, says the youngest, but after you've showered, when you no longer smell questionable. The eldest joins in, staring at my strangely dilated pupils. Mum, you should only really take that caffeine when you need to. He is right. I lie awake till 4 a.m. that night, thinking about the 45-minute woman, what it means to make peace with slowing. Her head a silvered curve, what it means to keep going.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that.
My pleasure.
That was your very first race?
That was my very first race, which was a 5K. And do the listeners want to know my time?
Let us know. Yeah, why not?
So that was my first 5K race. That was 23:26.
Wow. That's amazing. And that was your first one?
That was my first one. So that was in last August. And then I just did one a couple of weeks ago, ill-advisedly, slightly too close to the marathon. But my friends sort of encouraged me, and I'm very a people pleaser. So if someone says, will you do this race? I go, okay, sure. So my current time, should we share the current time?
Yeah.
18:47.
Wow, that's a huge progress, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been amazing. I mean, this has been the amazing thing for me, that running has been, while my theatre career, not just my theatre career, while the whole theatre industry is slightly disintegrated, and my marriage similarly, running has been this kind of upward trajectory, which is, it doesn't often happen in your 40s that you kind of start something and then get really good at it. So it's been quite encouraging for me in my life.
Yeah. So how did that feel, running that time at your first 5K then? Were you expecting that at all? Were you surprised by that?
Well, so at that point I'd done, the only other 5K I'd sort of officially kind of run was the park run, and the park run was like 24 minutes something. So in my head, I was like, well, if park run was 24-ish, can I go sub 24? But it was such an interesting experience because everyone else from club had run not just other 5Ks, but even that particular race series before. And it really made me realise, and this is what's so nice, everything I do is still, I'm still kind of, every race is a PB, and every course I'm doing it for the first time. So it's really, I'm in the really nice phase. But, obviously a lot of my run club friends and colleagues are kind of maybe a bit more in the plateau stage, or in the sort of things are getting slower stage. So, and that obviously is partly what the poem's about. And, that is the trajectory of running. But hopefully I've got a few more years of the upward curve.
No, you have. I mean, you are lucky because you're new to it, and you will see improvement, particularly with joining a running club. I mean, what kind of training do you do now with your club?
Oh, well, that's the other thing. I mean, the reason I've got faster is because my training and everything has just got better. So the club is amazing. I mean, it's a small club. We're not huge, but every week we meet on a Wednesday, and there's a social run, and then there's also a kind of structured session. So it might be kind of various forms of kind of interval training or speed work. But the great thing is, there's a lot of encouragement to do races. So obviously that keeps us kind of match fit. But also some of us will be like, anyone around want to go for a long run on a Sunday, or other runs on a Friday lunchtime. So the kind of the community like extends and expands way beyond just the Wednesday nights.
Yeah. And I mean, how important is being part of the club been socially for you as well?
Well, huge in that they've, lots of them have become like my absolute best friends. And as you know, because runners are all just obsessed with running and all we want to talk about is running, I've still got friends outside of running, but they're probably a bit more like, yeah, Pops, can you shut up about running? Whereas, of course, my running friends are like, let's talk about our splits. Let's talk about this whatever function on the watch. And also, it's really good because they're all really like, they're, of course, way more experienced than me. So when I have like a minor twinge or a niggle, they give me advice about that. When I don't know what I'm doing with my watch, which is all the time, they help me, show me where stuff is and program stuff in. So no, the community, I think that's one of the best things about the run clubs is that sense of community. And, when people, and I see it now, we're in kind of marathon season, like people are injured or people are worried, there's a lot of emotional support and, care in that community as well.
Yeah, there is. And yeah, it's nice that we always have someone to talk to about running splits. Like other people would find that boring, wouldn't they? But
right, exactly. But, it's so interesting.
Yeah, I just love it. So you mentioned marathon training there. So we are recording this show in marathon week, aren't we?
Yes.
So how are you feeling? It's your first marathon, isn't it?
It's my first marathon. I'm feeling it's a roller coaster. I mean, not even every day, every hour I'm feeling different. So I've definitely had some phantom pain in the kind of taper period, but I've also got something that's a bit more like a genuine minor twinge. It is minor, but so I'm kind of constantly assessing, is this real? Is this in my head? Going a little bit insane, feeling like one moment really confident, and then the next moment I will get round. I think whatever happens, I will get round, and I'm running it for NSPCC, and like that's a really important charity to me, and I have to get round because the finale of the show, by this point the show opens really soon, and the finale of the show is my poem about the marathon, which obviously I haven't written yet, and I can't write until I do the marathon. But so I can't, at this stage, I'm not pulling out because I'd have no end to my show, and I've already written and learnt the rest of the show. So as established, all of this stuff, I mean, I literally only entered the marathon. Again, I went, that'd be good content for the show. And as it's turned out, it's only going to be a single poem. And I'm like, 16 weeks, really more than 16 weeks of training, and all the other work around it for a single poem is quite a lot of effort.
I should clarify at this point that when we say the marathon, we're talking about the London marathon.
Yes, sorry, there are so many.
There are other marathons are available, and there are lots of other marathons happening at the moment. But yes, it's London that you're doing. So why London Marathon?
Well, to be honest, if I'd known, I didn't know there were all these other marathons. I'm such a novice to all of this. I just went, oh, London Marathon, that's like a big iconic one, isn't it? Let's try and get a place for that. And I got this charity place, which obviously is brilliant because I can and am and will be raising lots of money for NSPCC. But I haven't even run this first one yet, but I'm already planning my second.
Are you? Well, I'm thinking with your unexpectedly fast race times that hopefully you can kind of qualify to apply for good for age, can't you? For next year?
I should get a good for age. I mean, again, touch wood. Let's not count our chickens or anything like that. Yeah. But hopefully, hopefully I should or could or might get good for age. But I'm also interested. I don't necessarily know that I want to do London again. I just think there are some amazing ones all over the country and internationally too. And so it's exciting.
Yeah, because you mentioned you love trail running. So London,
I love trail running.
Yeah, London's obviously on the road, so that's going to feel quite different. How much road running have you been doing in preparation?
Well, I mean, most of once I got serious about training, it's a bit sad actually. Once I got serious about training, I sort of stopped doing all the sweet little runs I've been doing from my front door, and I started doing a lot more, obviously running on the road, but also finding places that were flatter to do my speed work. So I wasn't simultaneously trying to do 400 meter sprinting things up a hill, unless it was hill sprints. So yeah, now I kind of mix it up. But I did in the midst of my training block this spring, it was the Wiltshire Off-Road League, and I did compete in a lot of trail races every Sunday. And afterwards I said, guys, why did no one tell me that was probably a slightly risky strategy in the training block? And I was like, oh, it's because I'm scoring loads of points for the club again. But I had a lovely time, won a few medals, and I just love racing trail. It just feels like it's my natural habitat.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I'm a trail runner at heart as well. I've done a few road races recently, but I haven't really enjoyed them as much. Trail running's the best, isn't it, really?
Trail running is the best. Don't tell the road.
Yeah, I know. And don't tell London Marathon. You'll love London Marathon though. It's amazing. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yes. I'm also slightly nervous about the loud crowds. But they are what they are. So just have to enjoy that energy and not be overwhelmed by it.
Yes, I think I found it's been a while since I ran it. I think it was about 8 years ago when I last ran it. But I found that if you kind of move into the middle, especially you're having your name on your top, if you move to the middle, the crowd can't kind of annoy you as much. But if you need energy, you can move outside, and then they'll start shouting you, and then you get.
That's a good strategy, though. Yeah. Like sort of cushion yourself in the middle. Yeah. The other runners can be like human ear protectors.
Yeah, but if you need that energy and you've got your name on your top, you just move to one of the edges, and everybody will be shouting you. It feels like your own personal cheer squad. So
that's fun. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I've only had done one other kind of like big race in that sense where there are crowds and noise, and that was Bath Half Marathon as a tune-up race for London, and I got a great time. I got a fast time and everyone was very impressed with the time, but I did not have the most enjoyable experience because I was really overwhelmed by the noise and the people. So I'm just that's what I'm training myself for now in this final bit. It's just the mental game of that.
Yeah, it can feel quite overwhelming when you're in the middle of it. It's very loud, but I think I hope you love it. Yeah, what's your...
And if nothing else, it will give me good content for the poem.
So you're saying you're working up to this kind of final marathon poem. You must have had some other content over 60 weeks of training, surely.
Well, yes, no, I've got tons. I mean, I could make an entire show just about this marathon training block. But the thing is, because so much has happened over my running journey, like and also like the show explores, yes, there's stuff in it about racing, but there's also stuff, about comedy dating experiences and what I like to listen to when I go running. I mean, spoilers, I don't listen to music, it's silence. That's poems all about silence. So there's just so many different sort of aspects and kind of facets to my running journey. I was like, I can't make it all about the marathon, also because I have to like write and learn the show, so it's really covering the whole of this kind of 18-month journey. But I do keep thinking, oh, maybe I'll write a whole novel or a play or a musical, because I write across so many different forms. There's so much material. I think the world needs a musical. Why there hasn't been? I should stop talking about it. Someone else will listen to this podcast and go, I'm going to write the first musical about running.
You should totally write that. I'd go and watch that.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, runners, like the running community is huge. And also the running community, I find, the runners are like good people, like morally good people. And if they say they're going to do a thing, like come and see my show, then they will come and see my show.
Yeah. Well, I think I said to you before we started recording, I'm going to try and get you out to just tell us where the show is, because you're
I'm all over. It's a whole 21-day UK tour, but a lot of it is focused around the southwest because I'm a single mum, and that's kind of easier with my touring. So I open in Frome on the 5th of May. Then I've got a week in London from the 6th of May onwards, and then I'm all over. I'm up in Oldham on the 13th of May. I won't talk through every venue, but and it's a lot of southwest venues, and I've got another some more sporadic dates in London. But basically, if you go to the easiest place to look at all the dates is my website, which is www.metatheatre.co.uk. Meta is spelled METTA. I don't know why I put on a strange advert voice there.
No, that was beautifully done. Yes, that was
selling voice.
We'll put that in the show notes for you as well.
Amazing.
So you can just click through to it and have a look at where P's touring. Have you got a poem you could share with us about kind of training or about your running club?
I mean, I've got so many about my running club. What is a nice one to do? I mean, I have got one about training, which is in fact about the half marathon. That is slightly less positive, but if that's okay, we've got to have the full picture. It does contain a single swear word. Is that allowed? Are we allowed to swear?
That's allowed, yes.
Okay, great. Yes. I mean, I've also said the show is 14 plus, which is, and I suddenly was like, oh, I do use the F-bomb. I wonder if that's going to be okay with obviously most 14-year-olds are like...
Most 14-year-olds know what that is.
Yeah. I know, but it's the parents, isn't it? It's not the actual teenagers. Okay, so this is the penultimate. Is it the penultimate poem in the show? It's called, Is It Too Late to Pull Out of London Marathon? I want to quit. Not running, just this race. I don't want the noise, the crowds, the unbearable loud. Don't want to become who I was on Sunday, my first big race, raging at runners, getting in my way, slowing me down, dragging my pace, cacophonous clamour of roadside bands, unbearable shouting, banging of pans. In theory, they're cheering for you, but it feels like mobs with pitchforks. And fuck their dad bringing the kids minutes too late to see me run, but in time to see me sad. To have them after, whining in the rain as my oxygen-starved brain shuts down and shivering, I shout at them to shut up. Stifled by the smothering quilt of mum-run guilt, I briefly hide inside my coat for a quiet cry. And maybe it's overstimulation talking, overwhelm taking the helm, but I hate how I can't not go fast. How my competitive streak overtakes all thoughts of kindness, care, of running as a vehicle for love, and in its place my source of peace becomes a fuel for wrath. Making space for my stupid trophies on the shelf, I dislodge an old photo of me and my love at 21 and am instantly undone. I hide the pic, but my youngest quick as anything blurts, better to keep it out on show, can't run from feelings, you know. So annoying when they're wise, while I'm a mess. One more divorce email landing from my ex, immediately post-race. Could he not grant me a few days' grace? And me too weak to even read the thing. Is this simply overtraining burnout? Self-doubt masquerading as self-hate? Or have I realised too little too late that racing brings out the dickhead thoughtless worst of me? Of course, I will still run when the time comes. Pops won't stop, won't quit. And what privilege to have this place, you whining little shit. Besides, it's all for charity. My legs, my lungs, my heart, I can train through this sport to withstand the increasing load. But how to keep open my soul? Instead of anger flooding my system, let some kindness flow. Another sort of training must be done, so I refrain, give myself some grace, and hope by race day demons can be tamed.
Oh, there were a lot of emotions in there, weren't there?
It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. I could feel all those different emotions there.
Yeah, well, this is the funny thing about running, isn't it? Like, it brings a lot of stuff up, but it also is such a great way to process, you know, everyone has so much, you know, grief, loss, rage, you know, all of those things come up. We're all human. But I do find running is such a great way to kind of work through it, metabolize the feelings.
Yeah, you said you don't run with music, so it is a good time just to let your brain do the thinking for you, isn't it, running? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you said in that you sent us, when you sent us kind of an email kind of telling us about the show, you said that running transformed your life entirely for the better. What just talk us through that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, this is a heavy chat for the podcast. I mean, I think the truth was I was in a really low place when I kind of discovered running, and it was really a kind of lifeline for me, and particularly because so much else in my life felt like it was falling apart, running was like the one thing. It turns out I'm really good at consistency, and running, and you're really rewarded if you kind of can maintain consistency. But just the act of kind of lacing up and getting out the door and doing that, and then the endorphins afterwards, felt like this small thing that was achievable in a time where, you know, I mean, there are a few poems in the show that delve into slightly like more emotional and kind of darker territory. But, you know, when I get very low, I tend to I just don't I have no sensation of my hunger cues, so it's very easy for me to just sort of forget to eat and just stop eating. And the funny thing about running is, because I'm so competitive, I take my training and all that stuff so seriously that I would kind of force myself to eat even when I wasn't kind of feeling it. And actually it feels like it has been the last 18 months, running has been the kind of the thing that has kept me afloat through those sort of difficult times. And then the friends that I've made through Run Club similarly have become, you know, some of the most important people in my life, and, you know, really looked after me and cared for me, and kind of in the low times. So yeah, I mean, I have to say, there's lots in the show that's also funny and silly and sexy, but, you know, I don't shy. I'm very honest. I'm too honest, and I don't shy away from kind of, the dark bits as well.
I think that's important though, isn't it? Like, it's like social media nowadays. There's a lot of people who just share the positive, and it can feel like everybody's having a great time, always getting PBs. never injured. And
absolutely,
life isn't like that, is it? So it's great that you're exploring all these other emotions as well.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And in fact, sometimes people are like, gosh, you overshare a lot on social media. And I'm like, I think it's really important that people see the struggle as well as the success, because actually very often sometimes people message me and they're like, thank you so much for sharing that you were struggling about this, that, and the other, because it made me feel less alone in my own struggles, or it made me realize like I could reach out for help or whatever the thing is. But I think we have to, I mean, that's being human, isn't it? Like it's great to share these things, and it helps people make connections through them.
Yeah, it does. I think it's so important. I mean, you're obviously very honest and vulnerable, really, in the poetry that you're sharing. Is it difficult to stand on stage and say all these things?
Do you know, it's so funny. That's the easy part for me. People are often like, oh, is it hard to be so vulnerable? I'm like, no, the hard part is just making sure I've memorized it. And it's really technical. But the sharing of it, I'm like, oh no, it's fine. Because the truth is, by the point at which I'm sharing that poem, the kind of the grief or the trauma or the feelings, like that work has been done. So actually, very often, if I put a poem out on social media, I get a flurry of, and it's, negative, I get a flurry of messages of like, are you okay? And I'm generally like, yes, by the time I share it, I'm fine. Sort of the act of writing it and the act of editing it is where I was doing the feelings and doing the work. And now that it's out in the world, it's more that I share them in the world to help other people go, that resonates for me, or I felt like that and now I feel less alone.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. So do these poems come to you while you're running, or is it something that you're thinking about and crafting afterwards?
That's a great question, and it really varies. So quite often, particularly if I'm racing, and it's like a long race, like these trail races at the beginning of the year, 9 miles, or one of them was 12 miles, you've got quite a long time in your head. And if something eventful happens as you're going, then quite often that can become for me this kind of the seed of a poem. So I remember one of the 9 mile races, it was incredible. It'd been really wet. It was February and it was so wet and the fields were really boggy and the terrain was quite tricky and quite technical, which I love, but it was sort of challenging. And I got into my head this idea of like calling on Demeter, because I was going through a field of like calling on Demeter and then calling on like all the Greek gods to sort of support me in my run. And it was partly a kind of effort, as we all do, like positive self-talk mantra during the run. But as I was going, I was like, this is definitely going to become a poem. And it did.
Fabulous. And is that one in the show?
That one is not in the show. I mean, I could probably find it. And this is the thing, that there's so many brilliant and poems that I love that didn't make it into the show. So I guess I just need to get a publishing deal and publish a massive book of all of them.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, we'll wait to hear about your book then as well. But for now, if you're interested in hearing more of P's poetry, then you can have a look at their upcoming UK tour dates for running commentary. We'll put the link in the show notes. Do you have one more poem you can share with us to leave our listeners with? Perhaps maybe a funnier one?
A funny one. Yeah, absolutely. I know. I'm still doing the dark ones. Yes. What's going to be a nice, like light-hearted one? I mean, it's funny because the light-hearted ones often. I mean, are we up for a slightly sexy one?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Okay. This is quite short. So last year, I was briefly dating. So I'm 42 now. But the funny thing about getting single in your 40s, I did not expect this, but I have inadvertently become a cougar, because on the dating apps, a lot of the people there are like 29-year-old guys. Anyway, and they're sort of very up for it. But it means that so last year I was dating this very lovely, super hot 29-year-old guy, but just 29-year-olds, they're just up for it all the time. So this is a poem that is definitely about running. Sometimes you want it slow and gentle. Sunday morning, long and sweet. Sometimes short and quick. Pacing matters, plus the right gear for maximum comfort. Fun with a partner or solo to really tune in to your own body's needs. it can be murder on the hips. But generally, discomfort only comes from pushing too hard. Post-exertion hunger is a real thing. Bagels work, muffins too, butter dripping down your chin. It takes a lot out of you, but the joy, the sweaty, salty, slick-limbed joy is never not worth it. So that was definitely about running. That's all it was about. It was about running.
Of course. Very cheeky. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. It's been a joy chatting to you this afternoon.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, best of luck with London Marathon, which you will have run by the time we put this podcast out. So do please let us know how you get on.
Of course. And hopefully see you at the show in Oldham.
Yes, I'm going to check dates now and hopefully I can make it there. That would be wonderful. Last question, just before we finish. What would you say to somebody who's in their 40s thinking about starting running for the first time?
I would just say do it. I would say it will make you happier. It will make you a better person. If you're a parent, I think it will make you a better parent, even if that means you spend less time with your children. My children say this all the time. You are a happier, better person. So we don't mind if we lose you for an hour every day to a run because you're like, a better mum because of it. And also join your run club. Find your run club, join it.
Yeah, perfect. Brilliant. Where can people find you on social media, P?
I'm on Instagram, P Burton-Morgan. Very easy to find. Hopefully there's no one else with that name on Instagram.
We'll also pop a link in the show notes for you. Thank you so much. Such a powerful reminder that running isn't just about times and training. It's also about rediscovery and creativity and connection, of course. So best of luck with your show.
Thanks so much, Michelle.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a running friend, and let us know what you think on our Instagram. Until next time, happy running.